Let's bring in White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. Karoline, thanks so much for joining us with a preview of the State of the Union. How does the president message, okay, things are better, things were broken when I got into office, I fixed a lot of things, but there's still some growth to do?
Well, you're going to hear President Trump tackle that message head on tonight, and I know he's greatly looking forward to addressing the nation. His speech is going to be a celebration of the 250th year of America's independence. He is going to share the stories of great American heroes who exemplify bravery and the spirit of 1776. And the president is, of course, going to tout his administration's record-setting accomplishments over the past year while laying out an ambitious agenda to continue making the American dream more attainable and affordable for working class people across the country. It's going to be a great speech. There will be some tear-jerking moments, as there was last year, in addition to some moments of levity. And so we hope everybody will tune in.
Yeah, Karoline, what can we expect as far as people in the audience? Because I know every year we see someone special sitting next to the First Lady, and then the president always talks about different stories, and then the cameras zoom in on those individuals. Can you give us a glimpse?
Of course. The First Lady will have two great children with her as part of her Fostering the Future initiative. The president himself has invited some extraordinary guests this year who, again, truly exemplify what it means to be a patriotic American, men and women who have served in our United States military. He'll also be telling the stories of everyday Americans who have directly benefited from his policies. One of them, Megan Hemhauser, who's a waitress from Pennsylvania. She and her husband are directly benefiting from the president's no tax on tips and no tax on overtime policies, which he, of course, signed into law with the help of Republicans last year. She and her family will be taking home more than $5,000 this tax refund season. Another young woman who she and her husband have been struggling with infertility, but she's now saving $3,500 to purchase the drug for infertility to help create a beautiful family for she and her husband through President Trump's initiative of Trump RX. So he'll be sharing these stories, again, of everyday Americans who are directly benefiting from his policies and making a few new policy announcements as well to continue tackling the affordability crisis that Joe Biden created 1 year ago. And the president will be talking about the positive metrics we have seen and moving forward towards making life again more affordable and prosperous for all Americans.
So that's gonna be interesting. We'll see if Democrats respond to anything except for holding up pop sticks with little signs on them like last time, which was truly embarrassing, I think, for them. Hakeem Jeffries seems to be going out of his way to say either leave or just sit there quietly in his own partisan way. But the other big story is the CIA evidently aiding the Mexican government in taking down a key drug kingpin whose specialty was fentanyl to America. So we all should be applauding this. But American tourists right now stuck in Mexico, here's some of what they're saying.
The day before, everybody was telling us how safe Puerto Vallarta is and how this area was really safe. So it's just, I think, an unfortunate turn of events that apparently a part of Mexico that folks thought was very safe.
Across the street is a gas station, and there's cars parked sideways throughout the road. There's about 6 cars on the road, 4 cars in the road and 2 cars next to the road in the parking lot, and they were all on fire.
You're seeing a war zone behind you, and we've got people come back to the hotel before all this happened saying, do not go out. There's cars on fire. So right then hey, I'm not leaving, I'm stuck here. And there's no way out. They closed the airport. So we're stuck.
Karoline, and a cover of the New York Post, War in Paradise. This is all new. It's breaking in 24 hours. What can you tell those people? Can we get them out?
Secretary Rubio and the State Department are absolutely on it. We hear from Americans directly who are in Mexico because the State Department immediately set up 24/7 phone lines, and they're taking hundreds of calls a day, providing Americans on the ground with travel support and advice. The State Department also has issued new travel advisories, and they'll continue to update those as the situation progresses. So we encourage all Americans in Mexico to, of course, adhere to the guidance provided by the the State Department. Right now, we are unaware of any reports of any Americans being hurt, kidnapped, or killed. And the Mexican drug cartels know not to lay a finger on a single American, or they will pay severe consequences under this president. And they already are. This operation, which was carried out successfully by the Mexican authorities, was, of course, supported by the United States, would not have happened without the leadership of President Trump. He has made it a day one priority to target and go after these vicious drug cartels that have shipped deadly poison to our country for far too long. He signed an executive order to rightfully designate them as foreign terrorist organizations. We've seen the president take unilateral lethal action against drug boats sailing through the Caribbean. And now, of course, we are coordinating and cooperating and pushing the Mexican government to do more to end the scourge of deadly drugs coming through our United States southern border, which, of course, is now secure thanks to President Trump as well.
Yeah, Caroline, I don't think y'all have seen any snow. I don't see any behind you. But up here in the Northeast, we've been battling these blizzards, and a lot of people are left without power, hundreds of thousands, because they live in the Northeast, and that's just part of the deal. What do you say to the families that are hurting? What would be the president's message to them?
The Trump administration is on it. We know that FEMA is out on the ground working with state and local authorities, and they will continue to do so. Although it's very unfortunate, FEMA continues to be defunded right now because of Democrat politicians here in Congress. So if you're an American hurting and suffering from this storm, we suggest that you call your Democrat congressmen and women and senators and encourage them to reopen the Department of Homeland Security so that these great FEMA workers who are helping you turn your lights back on can get the paychecks that they deserve. But nevertheless, this important work will continue and will continue to be there for Americans who need help as the conditions get better.
All right, Karoline Leavitt, thank you so much for the
Caroline.
preview.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.